Hello and welcome to my channel on Ancient in Chinese Astrology. I am professional astrologer Alex Zagata, and I would like to make a video titled "Which is the most spiritual astrology? Ancient, Indian, Chinese or modern?" So which of these schools is the most spiritual? And now I've been extremely busy. I would have liked to be making more videos, but my schedule is so busy that I simply do not have the time. But people have contacted me requesting videos or bombarding me with questions, but I haven't had the chance. However, having said this, the timing is really ripe to make a video, and especially with such a title. Why? Because on the 13th of June, 8 days ago, Jupiter, the planet of spiritual truths, made a heliacal rising, morning first, for our latitude, for the latitude of Europe. So I mean Bulgaria. So from Bulgaria around Vienna, Austria, something like this. For other latitudes, there would be 1 or 2 or 3 days at most, perhaps. Anyhow, these days Jupiter made a heliacal rising, which is the strongest phase, especially for a superior planet. Also, of course, last night, the Sun entered into Cancer, and thus heralding the start of summer. So happy summer, everyone. The Sun being the universal significator of the soul, the higher self. So as you see, this is this is the reason why I prompted myself to finally make a video after 6 months. Now, this topic is hotly debated, and with good reason. Now, what you should know is that there are many more modern astrologers, although this is changing. This has been changing over the past 10 years, but many more modern astrologers who are much more louder, more active, have a bigger community, etc. And especially psychological astrologers, and in general modern, although there is a difference between modern and psychological. But generally they are much more similar to any type of ancient, be it Hellenistic, Perso-Arabic or Renaissance astrology, traditional astrology, or Indian astrology, Jyotish, or Chinese astrology. So my point is that modern astrologers, they keep claiming, we're the pinnacle of evolution. Modern astrology is the best. It's the most evolved type of astrology. It's the most spiritual, etc., etc. However, has anyone scrutinized their assertions? And have they studied the other types of astrology? Because I have, and they have not. So I like to follow a rule, like say something, show something, then prove it. And so, speaking of this assertion that it's only modern astrology that can speak about spirituality and the native's meaning of life, etc., that ancient astrology or even Indian astrology are fatalistic, quote unquote, and that they are dealing with fate only, with with objective reality. This will happen, you're gonna get sick, you're gonna die, you're gonna get rich, you're gonna get poor, etc. Let's examine this because first of all, is this fact or is this fake? You see, very, very close. Or it could be also, is this a truth? Is this the truth, or is this a lie? Now, if it's fact or fake, that's one thing, but if it's a lie, that's obviously more severe. Now, I know modern astrologers. I mean, I used to study modern astrology when I started back in 2008, and for the most part, they're very they're not. If they will do something, they will not. The vast majority, they will not do it to maliciously and purposefully deceive. So I would say that they're doing this out of they're creating fake assertions out of ignorance, not on purpose. Which is it's excusable. Let's put it this way: it's excusable. Although it's not professional, because if you're not a specialist in a given topic, obviously your opinions have no merit, basically. But so also one very important rule that I myself observe, and that this rule is called the editor's rule. I'm not sure is this French, is this Russian, anyhow, but this is from the 20th century, or it could be earlier. So it basically says, you're not satisfied with something, then criticize. Go ahead, criticize. You're criticizing something. Are you criticizing? Then do not just criticize. Suggest something. Suggest something. Are you suggesting something? Don't just suggest it. Point 3. Do it. Do it. Point 4. Are you doing what you're suggesting? Then if so, then be responsible for the results. If in point 5, you're not ready to go all that way, then don't arise. In other words, don't even don't show up in the first place. And this rule is said to, and rightfully so in my opinion, to separate men from boys and women from girls. Because if you're not willing to go all the way, all these steps, in other words, astrologers who criticize, but they're not offering something. You know, when you're saying, how many astrologers who are making such claims about ancient astrology or Indian astrology or Chinese astrology are offering such spiritual consultations? And it's also very important to keep in mind that when you're reading the chart from a spiritual lens, you are not reading it in the same exact way. There are certain rules, there are certain points, special points and placements that are not generally used in the normal reading of topics or the universal approach. So it's so because modern astrologers they tend to mix things up. They speak about karma, they speak about reincarnation and unproven things, etc. With astrology being a science, we have to give sources. We have to follow the scientific method. You know, when you're making an assertion, be very clear. Is this your own opinion, or is this the opinion of some astrologer, some tradition that has stood the test of time? It would be 100 years or 200 years or less, but we have to be very specific and very explicit. So speaking of this, yes, this is my YouTube channel. This is my website, Ancient Chinese 100% astrology.com, because it's astrology that is free, unpolluted of psychology. And this is my Rumble channel, Ancient Chinese Astrology. I would appreciate it if you subscribe and follow me there, or here also on YouTube. Okay, so speaking of this topic, you know, meaning of life and spiritual path, etc. When I was creating my in preparation for my page and for this video, I wondered what type of representation could show this. After browsing through hundreds of images, I decided on this one to show one's spiritual life and meaning of spiritual path and meaning of life. I mean, you see the light is on the far side, but you have also a way backward. We don't know what is backward. It's not on the in the image. And also they're it's wood, so it's life. They're flowers, etc. Something is blooming, something is blossoming, something is taking root, so to say. So this is important. This topic is extremely important because we're touching on subjects such as fate, happiness, what it means to be happy, what it means, what is spiritual. So it depends, and I should clarify this because there could some misunderstandings could arise. For example, in not just in the past, but in some schools and some cultures, when they say spiritual, they mean spirits, they mean actual beings. They mean, in other words, for example, in the Perso-Arabic tradition, they mean the jinn, which are even the Quran. In the Quran, there is a chapter dedicated to the jinn, and there are other, in other cultures as well. So we're talking about non-spiritual, non-physical beings. They could be hybrids. They could be, I do not know what they are. They could be incarnations of the planetary spirit. They could be non-physical aliens. I do not know. The point is that these such beings, such spirits are well attested to in the traditional sources. And so by spiritual, do we mean commanding, summoning and commanding or negotiating and dealing with, making deals with such beings, because astrological magic, it deals with such things, for example, which I'm firmly against, by the way, and I have written about this, I will show later. But the point is that this is also spiritual because it has to do with spirits. But what I mean by spiritual is that we ourselves are, of course, spirits in human bodies, and I mean about your own life path as chosen by your soul, your higher self, in other words. So this is spiritual. This is not psychological, because psychology is something very transient. Psychology is it's just 100 years old or something, and it's ephemeral, whereas the soul is eternal. So of course, ancient astrology, predating psychology by thousands of years, there was no psychology. There were character traits which are either true or false, but very different. Speaking also of happiness, again, modern people, they could connect this with psychology. Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you depressed? No. Aristotle and other ancient philosophers and authors, they say happiness is seen as being what you're supposed to do. A plant is happy when it's giving fruit, when it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. This is happiness. You may be unfortunate, but you're walking on your own path, and this is what matters. Let's see. Also, the topic of which are the spiritual houses is important. Well, first of all, there is also a difference here, because this is the image I have selected for this video, because in ancient astrology and Indian astrology, also in Chinese, there is one type of system, basically the original one, which is whole sign house, so which is not true for the past 500 years or something. So although the later astrologers, there were historical reasons for that, they started, I've covered this in my video about whole sign houses and refuting Deborah Harding's claim in my YouTube channel here. But the point is that if you modern astrologers, they very often make, and not just modern, and some late traditional astrologers, they mistakenly use the quadrant houses for topics, which is wrong. And so that, for example, in this particular chart, we see that Venus is in the 10th, because the ascendant is Gemini. This is the first house. This is a Perso-Arabic chart and medieval chart, and this is the ascendant. This is the 10th house. Actually, they're written the first, the second, the third, the fourth, etc. This is the 10th, and Venus, because the first sign, the first image is Gemini. The 10th is always Pisces, and the midheaven falls in the 9th house. It's in the 10th quadrant house, but it's in the 9th house, so it carries 9th house topics. But anyhow, the point is that Venus is in the 10th and Saturn is in the 4th. Whereas if you're using modern astrology, they would say that Venus is in the 11th, as you see, same chart, and Saturn is in the 5th. No, they're not. So this would also, and their charts, especially with late ascendants, late long rising signs, that very often 4 or 5 planets are off, are different. You can imagine what type of mistakes this creates. Especially if the ascendant is the third decanate, the last 10 degrees rising. Let's see. Yes, the spiritual houses. Well, the spiritual houses, traditionally they're the 9th house and the 3rd house. These are the 2 spiritual houses. Now, the moderns, they tend to put the 8th house, which again, this is also in Indian astrology, but I'm not talking about Indian astrology. Now, this is ancient astrology. The 8th house, the only meaning that has to do is that has some similarity. Could be circumstances that put you close to death, out of body experiences or something like that. Such states. So, for example, Al-Biruni, 11th century astrologer, he says, Arabic astrologer, one of the most famous, he says the 8th house rules the evil effects of drugs on the body. In other words, drugs that put you in an altered state of consciousness, and that you can suffer. In fact, I have a client. She had this. She had in her annual horoscope, she had 8th house activation, and she ingested some sort of hallucinogenic mushrooms, and she had danger. She said she was fine, etc., but she was unconscious, and her husband has said that she could have died. But anyhow, the point is that it's the 3rd and the 9th, and also the 12th house is very mysterious, because it's you will not find the classical, the Western sources speak about it, but this is a mistake, because the 12th house is the most secretive house, and it's invisible. It's in aversion to the ascendant, so it has no light, so to say, and it's a dark house, along with the 6th and the 8th and the 2nd. But the 12th, so the 12th is the Indians have it right. The 12th is final liberation within the spiritual context. Of course, the 12th is it's black magic. It's hidden influences and secret societies and imprisonment, confinement and exile, etc., etc. Conspiracies and etc. But the point is that from the perspective of horoscopes that are inclining towards such topics, that have such configurations, then the 12th house can be is incredibly important. And also yes, Indian sources, they say that the 12th house can show, or also the ancient sources, that what is before birth, or Indian sources say that what happens after death. In other words, whether someone goes to what part of the astral plane of heaven, in commas, quote unquote. Let's see. Okay. So speaking of the most spiritual astrology, let me say outright that it is not Chinese astrology, and this is because of the three branches of Chinese astrology, the 3 types I'm versed into and offer services with them. 4 pillars of destiny, also known as Batsa, 8 characters, and also the I Ching astrology. The 4 pillars, it's not structured such a way. You can derive some information, no doubt about it, but you cannot. It's just the system is structured in a different way. It has other pluses, advantages, but it's just that you could derive information, as I said. For example, if there are particular stars, they would provide information, or that if there are particular branches or configuration, but it's not. It's more narrow. It's not as detailed. It's much more brief. Now, modern astrology. Well, modern astrology, for all its claims, it basically has nothing. And I'm not just saying that. Of course, I'm very thorough. I will show what I will give you a glimpse of what ancient astrology can show, and then I will ask and in fact challenge any modern astrologer to offer something remotely similar to this, and of course to name sources. But it's not modern astrology. And now, in terms of Indian and ancient astrology, Indian. It is ancient astrology that's the most spiritual, but by ancient I should also specify that what I mean by, I have a very detailed article on my website, what is ancient astrology, what I mean by it. By ancient astrology, in this particular sense, for the spiritual part, I mean Perso-Arabic astrology, to be specific, because there is a here in Bulgaria there is an astrologer called Rumen Kolev. He's famous, no doubt about it. I know him personally, obviously, and we've had debates, etc. And he switched to the sidereal zodiac. I don't know, something like 12 years ago, or 13, 14 years ago. I don't remember. And he's you see, the thing is that you will understand why the topic is long and tricky, because there is basically how shall I say, two approaches or two schools: the implicit approach or school and the explicit approach or school. So Rumen Kolev, speaking of what he's using, basically Babylonian astrology like 80% and some Hellenistic astrology, something like this. This is his approach with the sidereal zodiac and emphasizing the sky. This is what he's doing, and he's mixing mythology. So this is not a traditional approach. This is not a strictly traditional approach, although it is rooted. It is implicit. It's not explicit. It is implicit. There is a difference. What I will share partly here, because like it could be, it would become much longer. I will be basing it on both implicit, but much more on explicit meanings and sources, specific authors and doctrines. So let me show you, for example, speaking to illustrate what I mean by why it's important to use not just the regular chart, but to view it from a somewhat different lens. So I will be showing. Let's see. Now, this is a great software called professional astronomical software called Starry Night that I have, and it's showing the sky and the constellations, the stars, etc. Paranet Alonta, and great images, very beautiful. And so I will share 4 examples of some are of 2 or 3 are of actual people, actual clients, but disregard. I'm not disclosing any information, etc. These configurations could be they happen in other charts as well. They're not enough by themselves, but they're impressive, as you will see. So the first one is actually this is not going to be the first one, because let's start with this one. Let's start with this configuration. Now here, this is the ascendant, the intersection of the horizon in the eastern horizon in the ecliptic. Here it is, and you will see that this is the entire horizon here, the eastern horizon. This is the western horizon. You see W, and this is the midheaven. Here the intersection of the meridian and the ecliptic, and this is the lower meridian here, as you see. These are the planets, and so this configuration, this woman, this is from an actual client. The configuration that she had, not the data, etc. But that's not important. The important thing is the configuration. And when I looked at her chart, and she had offered she had ordered a consultation for me with Ancient and Chinese Astrology, the usual one. And I told her, I had rectified the chart very importantly, because these configurations are very time sensitive. You have to have an accurate time of birth within 3 or 4 minutes at most. And I saw that she has the constellation Crater, which is the cup, and this star Aukesh, which is the brightest star, which is in Paran, as you see here, with the ascendant. And so the cup. What is the cup? Now, if you read ancient sources, you will see that they will say that this shows a native who likes to drink wine. I told her this, and she said, "I love wine. I'm not a drunk. I'm not a, I don't go overboard, but I love wine." She said, "This could also show someone who has vines, who is into producing grapes and etc. with vines." Also, but the spiritual component, so to say, would be that because this is the cup, this is the Holy Grail. So I told her that she could be, her horoscope is not inclined, as I said, she offered a regular consultation, but if she were inclining to spiritual things, the cup could show someone who is an alchemist, who is doing things with liquids. I told her you could be making some sort of elixirs or drinks. Also, the cup, the Holy Grail is what it's it's an attempt at immortality, right? So I told her you could be you have an interest in prolonging your life, or in staying young, the fountain of youth. Again, this is not explicit in the sources, but it is implicit. And I said this could come up, you could be trying to do this with via some special drinks or potions, or by some sort of procedures, such as medical procedures to keep you young, some plastic surgery or some procedures. She said she said 2 or 3 such. You see, it works, and it would be obviously not everyone has this configuration, but there should be also other indications in the natal chart. But using the sky is a must, and ancient astrologers use the sky. Now this is one example. I want to show you another example. This is, again, because modern astrology has completely forgotten about the sky. They have no idea what they're missing, and they don't know how to use it, etc. It takes knowledge, it takes training, but the point is you have to read sources, you have to, again, explicit, implicit. And here is a horoscope of another client, real person, who, again, disregard the data. This is not, but the configuration is important. Now she has Sagittarius ascendant, Capricorn ascendant, tropical zodiac, but the sidereal chart has, as you see, the Sagittarius constellation. So it's, in this case, it's correct. It's the Sagittarius sidereal ascendant. However, take a look what she has. She has, again, this is the horizon, as you see here, the horizon plane, the horizon line. She has the horns of the goat, of the Capricorn, of the goat horned one, the proper name. Rising. Yes, she has. A sidereal astrologer would completely miss this unless they watch the sky. She would have sidereal ascendant, sidereal Sagittarius. In the sidereal zodiac, that's correct. However, in the zodiac of the sky, the constellations, she has the horns of the goat. Now this is what, again, you cannot, but this is the devil. Now, not that the devil exists, the devil per se. There are beings that impersonate. Anyhow, the point is that I told her, based on other configurations in her chart, which she has, I asked her, have you had, because she had worked in various, how shall I put it, high profile jobs, and actually in different countries, and she's a foreigner, and I asked her, have you had proposals to join some sort of secret society? It could be, well, women cannot be Masons, but some sort of society that worships, that is satanic, semi-satanic, or something that worships dark beings, etc. That's, secret, etc. underground. And she said, actually, I have been invited twice, and I rejected the offers. She's into, I think, Buddhism or something. Anyhow, that's not. But what matters is that this configuration is in the sky. And another thing. I'll show you a third one. This is the feet of the Virgin. So this is the Virgo constellation. Now it is important to know, because there are some, I'm also friends with sidereal astrologers, great people, no problem whatsoever, but I cannot stand fanatics of either, especially the sidereal or the tropical zodiac, because you cannot reason with such people. But anyhow, this, especially because we have sidereal fanatics here in Bulgaria, there are also in other places, in India, in the West somewhat, but here you will notice that because we have 3 zodiacs, the zodiac of the constellation, which is the oldest ones, the sidereal one, and the tropical one. And here, as you see, take a look again, this is the ascendant rising, this is the rising degree, and we have the left foot of the Virgin, Virgo, as you see, on the ascendant. Now, 21st of June 1984, etc. Here is the chart with software. 21st of June. In the tropical chart, she has Scorpio ascendant, folks. Virgo is rising, the end of Virgo, but it's, as you see, Virgo. In the Sidereal zodiac, she has again the same data. Sidereal zodiac. This is through Chitra, I am not sure, but regardless, it's one or 2 degree difference. It's not going to change anything in this case. She has Libra ascendant. As you see, Saturn and Mars on the ascendant. So because the Sidereal fanatics, they would say, you should watch the sky, the Sidereal zodiac is the ultimate truth, etc. Well, folks, it's not the Sidereal zodiac, it's the sky. It's different. It's different. And all ancient astrologers, the vast majority of which use the tropical zodiac, they also use the sky and advocated using the sky explicitly. So the point is that here is the Libra constellation, but it's small, whereas the Virgo is one of the biggest one. Was it the biggest one? The Virgin and also the water snake, the Hydra, one of the 2 of the biggest ones. So the point is that the foot of the Virgin is on the ascendant. So the Virgin, to show someone who is very pure, someone who is very chaste, very honest, playful, modest, and also because it's the foot. The foot is what? It's when we put our feet on the ground. What do we do? We leave imprints. So it's in a way what the mark you leave in the world. So I would suggest to such a client you should leave something behind, some sort of legacy. It's in this case I've not read the whole chart, etc. But in this particular case, for example, let's go basing the delineation on the Virgin, something that's of service, something that's of value. So it could be, for example, some sort of, for example, a sink. They could create a is the English word to sink? A sink of water where people can drink this water. They can go in the country or in the somewhere, and they can drink pure water, and this will last for decades and decades. Or they can create something that lasts, that is of service, and they will leave their mark, or something that's agricultural, or something that's practical, that's immediately practical and helpful. So again, this would be very very practical and concrete. Let's see, there is also another one I would like to show you. This one also comes from a real person, from a client. Now this configuration is Sirius, the brightest star in the heavens, along with Canopus. Although Canopus is not visible here on our latitude, I'm at 4351 northern latitude here in Russia, Bulgaria. But Sirius is in the Canis Major, the big dog, the constellation. Now this dog is rising. It's in Paran. It's on the eastern horizon when this native was born. And this native, when I saw the chart, I told her, of course, again, she had other configurations, but I'm basic, because if you ignore the dog in this case, it would be extremely difficult to get to extract this from the chart itself, from the one-dimensional chart, the usual chart with the planets in the houses. And I told her, ancient sources say that you're a dog breeder, or you are either a dog breeder, or you have had 1 or 2 dogs, but they're big dogs, or you may have more dogs. For example, Ivan Lendl, if you're familiar, Ivan Lendl, he has the moon conjunct Sirius, and he was born in the night. The moon is more important than the sun in ancient astrology. For those that are born during the night, for those that are born during the day, the sun is more important. He has the moon conjunct Sirius, and he has 4 or 5 German shepherds. Again, you cannot make this stuff up. It's either true or not, folks. So this woman, she has the ascendant, but this is Paran. This is not the simple ecliptical conjunction. This is Paran. So this woman, in other words, this is stronger, because this is the sky. As you see, this is Sirius, this is the ascendant. And I told her, also ancient astrologers say that the native is extremely daring, daredevil, so to say, brave. And I told her that, they say that someone could be a hunter, again, regardless of gender. this is you either have it as a type of energy or not as a type of traits, character traits. And I told her you could hunt, you could have you could like to hunt or martial arts or something. And she said she's interested. She has done some martial arts, but the point is that she said that this is very interesting. She admitted. She said, ever since I was little, I used to offer a bet. I used to bet with my father that I would go in. What's the word in a? I forgot the word in a pen or in a dog house. In a dog house, I would enter with a big dog, and that I would bet that this dog would not bite me, even though the dog does not know me. And I kept winning and winning these bets because I was sure in myself. Now, how many people have this ability? And she's a woman. She's not. She's not. I don't know how she's not bodybuilder or something with strong muscles or with something, but she has this characteristic in her chart, and it's visible. And yes, I rectified the chart, by the way, from all my clients, because again, these configurations are many of them, not just the stars, also the other specific points. They could change within a few minutes, so the chart has to be accurate. Okay, I showed you all four. Okay, so my point was that these insights are very are powerful and very useful, as you see, but they're not enough. They're not enough. And Rumen Kolev and his pupils, they're calling this, as I said, Apollo's astrology, and they're reading the chart from mythology and the stars and the sky. But this is not enough in terms of, it offers something, no doubt, but it's not enough. So I'm using this myself as an element of my approach. Okay, so let's see, where am I with time? 37 minutes. Okay, let's see. Okay, so why am I claiming, you are probably asking, that ancient astrology is the most spiritual one? Well, let me show you something briefly, what it can disclose. This particular native, let's say it's a woman, it doesn't matter, let's say it's a woman, and she has Gemini ascendant, and Mercury is in the 10th house, the lord of the ascendant, widely conjunct Venus, and disposed by Jupiter in mutual reception, although in detriment. And so in terms of spirituality and meaning of life, ancient astrology works with, as I showed you, it worked with stars and constellations, but also with lots, which are specific mathematical specific points that are derived mathematically from the chart. Some call them Arabic points. It's incorrect because they existed 700-800 years before the Arabs. But anyhow, but it is true that the Arabs perfected their use, and they deserve tremendous credit, as I'm giving it, obviously, because I'm saying that it is Perso-Arabic astrology, not Hellenistic, not medieval Renaissance, that's the most spiritual one. And so this native, this woman, she the chart indicates, first of all, that she has a lot of enemies. She has a lot of opponents, open enemies, and you cannot necessarily get these insights are not derived from the usual chart. They are derived from other considerations such as lots and others. So also the chart is signifying that this is most likely an immigrant. In fact, living in more than once or in two countries. Also, the way this native takes action, and overall and in the spiritual sense, is through contesting things and destabilizing things. So this is an extremely volatile life, with lots of changes, and that this native will go on her spiritual life by challenging theories and schools and methods, etc., and contesting them and destabilizing them. The truth shall set her free, so to say. And also her career and her job is one of the most important primary areas of her spiritual life. She will be very interested in making a name for herself. And again, if for those that have astrological knowledge, if you're thinking because of the Lord of the first is in the 10th, this is a coincidence in this case. This is derived from other configurations, such as the Lord of the Lot of Spirit being in the 10th house, not the Lord of the Ascendant, because in the vast majority of cases it's a different planet in a different house, therefore, most likely. So also she will attempt to deal with this in her spiritual life through marriage and partnerships, and she will have more than one. Because these are it's not a perfect example by any means, because we have some of this information in this particular case can be derived from the usual reading of the chart. Some of this information, obviously, but because the Lord of the first opposed the Lord of the seventh, but that's not what is meant here. Because I have a friend, and she has Jupiter in the seventh house. Jupiter, the one of the most benefic planets, the seventh house of partnerships and marriage, and also open enemies. But it's a benefic, and no astrologer would delineate, because Jupiter in the seventh, you would not have enemies. You would win them. You would get along, etc. I told her your life is full of enemies. She said, how are you deriving this? It's not Jupiter in the seventh. I said, no, it's not. It's something else. But it's true, right? She said, yes. In fact, she has a configuration, again based on these specific lots and configurations, something similar to Hitler, who had such a configuration. He was surrounded by enemies. He was attacked by so many countries, and he had to attack also. But the point is that the chart is, when you're reading the chart, the usual way you will not be able to extract this information, even if you know ancient astrology or some type of traditional or Indian astrology. What else? Well, I can talk about. I can extract so much, but also this. There is a specific planet which is extremely important, which is called the captain of the chart. You could call it also the Lord of the nativity, or some call it the victor of the chart, which is also more correct. But I call it the captain because this is the ancient doctrine of Porphyry, the 4th century. Whereas there is another doctrine of the medieval astrologers and European astrologers who call it Almutem Figuris, the Almutin of the chart. And there is also a third doctrine of the Lord of the Genitor, which is European late medieval. But I'm using the original doctrine of the 4th century, and this doctrine determining this planet is one of the most difficult ones in ancient astrology, as says Porphyry of the 4th century. So this planet shows, it takes the whole chart for itself, and this planet shows how the native goes on her or his path. So how you carry yourself on your path. And I'm not going to be determining this planet because, again, very often there are two or three planets competing with close points, close results, or close indications. You have to make a judgment call. So it's not but the point is that this planet offers tremendous insight into the spiritual life of the native, because many people have Gemini ascendant, but the Lord of the chart is not Mercury, it's some other planet. This planet gives even more information, overall, universal. And it also makes a big difference. This is only in ancient astrology, whether you were born during the day or the night, because this planet, Mars is the most difficult planet in a day chart. Saturn is the most difficult planet in a night chart. If you have such a planet as the captain of your chart, as the most important planet, and you're born in the day with Mars and in the night with Saturn, then even if you have a wonderful chart, you're going to suffer, no doubt. You're going to have so many obstacles or enemies, etc. This is true. This is simply your path, and astrology is ancient astrology has a way of deriving this insight. Now, I forgot something important. You may be wondering, wait a second, Alex, what's going on here? Why do we need to? Why do we need astrology? Why do we need astrology to tell us why we have come here? What our mission is, what our purpose is, what our happiness is. Why do we need astrology? Can we not know this intuitively, or can we not somehow gain access to this knowledge? That's a very good question. However, if you have researched the history of philosophy, the history of knowledge, you will see that there are so many schools in all over the world trying to figure this out. Why? Well, let me quote from Plato, one of the most influential philosophers in history of the Western tradition. So Plato, as you see in Phaedrus, which is a dialogue of Plato, before the soul was incarnated, it wandered around the outskirts of the universe and followed the 12 gods. But each of the souls chose a certain god from these 12 and worshipped him, the god. But because of the parts of the soul that yearn for materiality, we are drawn as souls down. We are drawn down to earth and live in a state of oblivion, which in the myth of Ur, again also by Plato, is explained by our having passed through the plane of oblivion and drunk from the river of forgetfulness. Amazing, very beautiful, and very, very accurate. In other words, folks, we have forgotten who we are by coming down to this material plane, to this particular planet. In our case, we have forgotten who we are. So we have to remember through our experiences, through our insights, or through astrology being the highest science, meaning deriving from astro, stars, and logos. This is the word that the Bible starts with. Although the Bible is a young book, but the point is logos, the speech, the language of this being. We are basically, with astrology, we are reading the divine mind, if we will, as shown by disclosed by the planets and the stars, which were of course created by the divine. Who else can create everything? The divine, of course. The divine created everything, and we are part of this. And also, speaking of this, because these are also metaphysical issues, although my purpose is to keep this more practical. But anyhow, in this case, you should also know, I believe I have examined this in an earlier video, but in case you have not seen it, the word fate, we have fate and destiny, but fate comes from the Latin fatum, which means spoken. And of course the question arises, spoken by whom? Who has spoken our fate? Again, the logos. We are reading something that's already been spoken, astrologos, and disclosed by astrology. And also, being a Chinese astrologer myself, also for this is the 11 years this year, it will become 11 years since I've been studying and practicing it. The Chinese character for the word life is composed of two symbols, mouth and command. Again, folks, the question arises, who commands our life? Who ushers, who gives the commands, who gives the orders of our life? Who is this? Who is doing this? And this is also a great quote by a very famous Stoic philosopher. A man becomes anxious not from the events themselves, but from the significance he or she attaches to them. Stoic philosopher. So these are very, very important points to consider, because especially if, again, depending on, because I am people from various continents and not just countries. Continents are requesting my services, and I have all sorts of people. I have sick people. I have mentally sick people. I have desperate people. I have poor people. I have unhappy people. I have divorced people. I I have happy people, I have fortunate people, etc. But they're fewer. Let's put it this way. And in fact, I had a client. I think the late May or anyhow recently, and she asked me specifically, "Am I going to hell?" I said, "What?" She said, "Someone told me that because of what I did, I'm going to burn eternally in hell." Now, as an astrologer, I have to, she's asking me, I have to. She asked the horary question, which is a specific question. Where not the natal chart is used, but the moment the astrologer understands the question. And I told her no, because there is no hell. There is no heaven also. There is no paradise. I told her, if you are diligent, if you are studious, I can recommend books by various people who have traveled to these planes or who have explored the beliefs all over the world. Speaking of this, what's the word? What's the title? Sorry, it's getting late here. It's a Romanian anthropologist of Mircea Eliade, shamanic techniques of ecstasy or something. It's this. He traveled all over the world and he examined the beliefs of all continents going back 100,000 years, and in detail. The book is 500 pages or something. I have it. Haven't read it in years, but it's a great book. And also Robert Monroe, an American businessman, mid-20th century. He was a businessman, but he started having out-of-body experiences all of a sudden, like that, when he was 42 or 43 years old. He thought he was going crazy. He started visiting all types of doctors and and psychologists and shrinks or what have you, and medical examinations, etc. He had, and he was fine, it turned out. And he started exploring this, and he wrote 3 books. He created an institute where, using very rigorous scientific methods, he even patented. He had a patent for hemsync. Anyhow, he describes what not just himself but thousands of his students. They described the same thing. They traveled the higher planes, and they said they mapped the astral planes, not just themselves, other people as well. But he's very famous and very scientific, extremely objective. Anyhow, let's move on. The reason I'm going more into detail into these things is because in the past, because of organized religions, namely Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, they wanted to hold and they held a monopoly on the soul. So anyone who wrote on the soul and risked, getting excommunicated or killed, etc. And this is one reason why you will not find. You will find no doubt, and I will name sources. You will find pieces and rules and methods for delineating the native spiritual path and meaning of life, but it's not systematized. However, in ancient astrology, you will not find anything. And modern astrologers, they like to say that using aspects of the trans-Saturnian planets that are valid for many people for years are showing spiritual things. No. This is completely unfounded, because you have to test things and you have to verify. It's not. You cannot name such sources. So someone made this thing up, and again, it's not the powerful configuration, folks. Remember this: the powerful configurations are those that change quickly. The lots change quickly. The stars change quickly. The dodecatimoria, the bounds, they change quickly. The divisions of the images of the signs, they change quickly, etc., etc. Let's see. Yes, the reason I'm explaining this is because. What Ruin Koref and his followers, the Sidereal astrologers, they do is they're using the implicit approach, whereas what I'm using is the overall 80-90% the explicit approach. So what can also be derived from the chart is, for example, this particular native, this woman, using ancient techniques, we can say, we can not just speak about the life as a whole, but we can break down the native's life into chapters, and we can say this chapter is about this chapter is about that, this chapter activates this. This is unheard of in modern astrology. Only Indian astrology has this, and ancient astrology as well, but ancient astrology is more nuanced in this respect. And for example, this native, and also it's very important that we can go back. I can return the client, so to say, to our I can have her recall. I can have her return to the past, so to say, make a trip to the past, and I can tell her, for example, for this particular client, your chart indicates that in 1997 you were in a period that this was about 1 year, 360 days, that you most likely made your life's work. You made your mission. You were very clear about what you're supposed to do, and you started doing it. You came to a realization. Now these periods and sub periods, they can be 8 years or 12 or even 20 years, or they can be very short. So it depends. It's very it's specific for the chart. This native, she has more such periods, but the next period is 2007. The next one is 2014. The next one is 2028. So 14 years she will not have this. So extremely important, because I can examine the native's chart and say here be very vigilant here, meditate or be very clear in what you want, or etc. Be very open to receiving information about your mission, and you will receive. Ask and you shall receive, because you're in a period that's conducive to this. And of course, also with the captain, I'm not going to get determined here, but with the captain, with the planet, the most powerful planet in the chart, this planet also has particular periods and years where it gets activated in certain cycles, where the native will have the most, how shall I put, will be able to make the most progress on her path. How she carries her on her path, she will realize, and she will have insights on this. It's separate from having her mission. This is separate, but because even with sometimes the planet is a malefic or it's afflicted, so you earn insights, but you struggle or you suffer, etc. But it's part of the life journey, of course. Let's see, what else? Well, as I said, I can talk a lot. Ancient astrologers also, for example, speaking of sources, Claudius Ptolemy, 2nd century of the Common Era, he speaks about significators of the body and significators of the soul, diseases of the body, diseases of the soul. But as I said, Perso-Arabic astrologers, they are much more, they provide more information and more insights and more, how should I put it, more structured and more comprising a system, so to say, compared to Hellenistic astrology. For example, we can I can look at a person's chart and say, your chart is indicating, of course, if the chart has such indications as shown by the Perso-Arabic astrologers, your chart indicates that you have a predisposition for the evil eye. You can either be a victim of the evil eye, or you can cast the evil, depending on the configuration, or you can cast the evil eye. And again, friends, this was written more than 1,000 years ago. It doesn't matter. These are eternal truths, because astrology, people do not change. We have the same needs and desires and wants, etc. We want children, marriage, career, travel, dreams, finances, health, etc., etc. Parents. Friends here. Or I can, for example, I had a client. She had this configuration, and I told her, and she works in a. She has a higher degree and she works in finances. And I told her, but I don't care. I'm reading the chart. I'm a professional astrologer. I'm as objective as I can be always. And I'm saying this. Listen, your chart is indicating this. I'm it's nothing works 100% all the time, every single time. But when you get to 70%, 80% on a regular basis, you have found gold, so to say. And I told her, your chart is indicating this. Is this true? And she said, well, actually, my grandmother, when I was little, she taught me how to protect myself from the evil eye. You see, this is one case. And well, there's so many others, but let's see. There are configurations for someone possessing certain magical abilities or psychic abilities, and they're giving specific configurations. And again, I have many clients, and I check this, and it works. And it has been recorded throughout history. And again, there are configurations for astrologers. Someone, because people ask me, can I become an astrologer, or there are configurations for becoming for being either vegetarian or being extremely picky about your food, or many configurations. And so another one, because again with magic, again, are we talking about summoning and commanding spirits? Are we talking about manipulating the weather, or the ancient sources, they speak about things? Are you talking about persuading others against their will, or are we talking about influencing the dreams of others? There are many abilities that are listed by the sources. And yeah, also, what else? It can be, you could have there are people who make talismans. These talismans, again, there are separate talismans. You can have talismans for against protecting people from dangers in their travels, or from something. Or you can make talismans for generating wealth or something. But there are configurations for this. Also, let's see whether you'd be inclined to soothsaying or divination, and what particular divination. And again, I have another client. She has this configuration, and I told her, your chart indicates that among the elements, the 4 elements, water is in terms of the spiritual sense, spiritual reading, is you have some sort of connection or affinity with water. You can benefit a lot from water. You have this and that. And she said, that's amazing. I can't believe how you managed to this is true, she said. She said, I have the ability to communicate with water. Water communicates with me. Now, if you, again, these things are taken for granted by the ancient cultures. Again, it is not this woman. She's an engineer or something. She has a high degree. She works in a big company, etc. But she has some interest in such things, and she had such a consultation with me. But the chart is showing what it's showing, and there are cases where the client says, no, this is not true, or it's very little. It's not enough. It's not true enough. I said, fine, okay. And another one, she's into computers. Another client, and she said, again with water, and she said, this is true. She said, I can a different type of ability. She said, I have I see. She said, I see. What did you say? I see images. I see symbols in water, but I cannot decipher these symbols. I went to certain experts, she said, and here in Bulgaria, she said, and they told me this and that. I encouraged her to do this, and it's true. And I also told her that there is a movie about Nostradamus, who was actually an astrologer and also a physician, not just a prophet. And in this film, it's a French film, and it is shown that he's performing divination by water. And I encouraged her to find this movie and watch it, because water is her element. And she said she was very grateful, and she said that she would look up the movie. Yeah. Let's see. There are others and others and others. Let's see. Well, also about how are we with time? 1 hour. non-human beings, let's put it this way. The Perso-Arabic astrologers call them jinn, but to be more thorough, we should call them non-human beings, because we don't. Again, are they spirits? Are they demons? Are they what? Are they incarnations of the planetary spirit? Are they non-corporate, without aliens, or beings that are without bodies, discarnate beings, etc.? But the sources, they have configurations for this, that the native will either, but this I should say this here, that these particular configurations are so rare that it's but so is the ability. So you can be influenced by, open to their influence, or you can be able to see them, or you can be able to meet them or be friends with them. There are specific configurations for this. But again, this is attested to in the ancient sources. Again, these astrologers, and they were some of the most respected people in the empire. Abu Mashar was studied for centuries by European universities in the Middle Ages. So, speaking of sources, mashallah, most of them are 9th century, late 8th or early 9th, but 9th century. Mashallah, Abu Ali Al-Qayyat, his student, of course, Benjamin Dykes, tremendous gratitude. He has translated books by mashallah, by Abu Ali. But we need more, because they wrote much more. Abu Mashar, 9th century, the most famous Arabic astrologer. Abu Mashar, Abu Ali Al-Qayyat, mashallah. Saul ibn Bishr, also Ben Dykes translated. Saul ibn Bishr's book, very, very thick book, like 700 pages or something. But again, out of these 700 pages, you have to keep your eyes peeled and be on the lookout for such passages, because I have read these, so many times that I'm extracting the treasures and the golds and leaving the shaft, so to say. And here, speaking of this, in my website, in my services section, I say that like this Dorotheus of Sidon is one of the 3 most influential astrologers in history. He was in the 1st century AD, the Common Era, and as you see, he bequeathed the book to his son, and in the book he wrote that he had traveled to Egypt, Babylon, and many other countries in search of knowledge, and like the bees that extract nectar from various kinds of trees and plants to make good honey, the author Dorotheus collected and sifted from the most worthy astrologers before him to write his work. And like himself, I have collected and sifted knowledge from the United States, Great Britain, Canada, Malaysia, China, Singapore, Bulgaria, Netherlands, etc., etc. And here is the book, by the way. Here is the book, Carmen Astrologicum, this 1st century, as you see here. But I can tell you right now that this book does not contain such knowledge, such insights about the meaning of life and the spiritual life path. It's this one, not others. They contain here and there, but this one does not. Okay. Let's see. Yes. Also about the planets that are direct and that are walking backwards, or retrograde, as astronomers and modern astrologers call them. It turns out that ancient astrologers, they had a doctrine. Mashallah has a doctrine about such planets. It makes a difference whether the planet is direct or retrograde in terms of spiritual connotations. And I will tell you what he says. He says that he links retrograde planets with spirituality, because he says, as a planet, and Ben Dykes says, the translator says this himself in an interview with Chris Brennan, Dykes being the translator from Arabic. He says that direct planets, they are moving downwards towards the earth, which is the material plane, whereas the retrograde planets, they sort of circle back. So this indicates that either the soul or the soul of the native into day-to-day affairs is not as focused on the soul of the native is not as focused in his or her day-to-day affairs, or the soul of the native could be focused on spiritual matters. So again, this insight is, you cannot find this in modern sources. Indian sources, I cannot say for sure. They have this doctrine that these planets become exaggerated, but for spiritual connotations, this is not specific enough. So advantage to the ancient astrologers in this respect. Okay, so let me show you the Indian chart. Now, Indian astrology, so like in the Western tradition, where 85 or possibly 90% is tropical, in the Indian tradition, it's even more so. It's sidereal. Although there were tropical astrologers, even traditional ones, and they are now today also tropical astrologers. Vigdikara, and he knows Sanskrit and translates, and also Ernst Wilhelm, etc., and others in India. But anyhow, the point is, this doctrine here is the doctrine of the Dharma types. Credit to Simon Chukoisky, American astrologer, who he's into Indian astrology. They call it Vedic astrology. It's not Vedic, but anyhow, it's Indian astrology, Jyotish, the light, and it's he also knows Sanskrit and he teaches Sanskrit. So he's extremely well read, extremely knowledgeable, and very, very pleasant man. I know him, and he has a book and he has a course on the Dharma types. And so again, back why I'm explaining this, because this is coming from the implicit school, because the Dharma types, you will not find this. You will find this in the Mahabharata, which is the longest book ever written. It's even longer than the Iliad and the Odyssey of ancient Greek. When you combine the Iliad and the Odyssey, Mahabharata is even longer than them. However, it's not because it was written thousands of years ago. They did not have astrology like we do now. They did not have horoscopic astrology, because horoscopic astrology appeared in the 2nd century before the Common Era. So the point is that they had bits and pieces, advice. But it was Simon Chukoisky, who he's from, I think, from Phoenix, from Arizona in the United States, and it was he who uncovered this, and he started reviving this. So it's both implicit, but he has tested this on many charts, and he has a book which I recommend. He has a course. But anyhow, I've also included this after years and years of searching, and I stumbled upon this, and after testing it always on many charts, I firmly concluded that this is so precious that it should be, people deserve to know this. This is precious knowledge, friends. And I've also included this and not just decided to keep it for myself and for my close circle. So this doctrine of the Dharma is, again, what your purpose in life. And a long time ago, the Indian sages, they discovered that everyone wants to be happy, and that happiness comprises of living with nature, in accordance with nature, not against nature. And of course, in the West, so to say, in France, they have Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who in the 18th century he said it's back to nature. Well, the Indian sages, they had this thousands of years ago. But anyhow, not just the Indian, of course, the Chinese here, the Bulgarian, etc., the ancient peoples. And the thing is that you can have temporary happiness, but this is not durable. It's not, it's not. You can get high, you can have sex, you can go to the casino, go to a concert, you can whatever, something brief, something that's hormonal, so to say, that's giving you a rush. But after the rush is over, this is not permanent. So permanent is by following your Dharma type, and this is determined by the Indian horoscope. This is the Diwan. I'm using the Northern Indian chart. This is the ascendant, the first house. This is the second house, the third, the fourth, as you see, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh. This is the Gemini ascendant here. This is the same chart, becomes Taurus ascendant here, as you see, 8th of February 1980, 12:57 p.m. in Plovdiv, Bulgaria. And Taurus ascendant, and here Venus obviously rules Taurus. Venus is in the 11th house, exalted in Pisces. And here, this doctrine, there are five Dharma types. We have the outsider, the philosopher, the educator, or the philosopher, the educator, the laborer, the warrior, and the outsider, Now, depending on the particular chart configurations, this woman, she's either an educator, philosopher, or she's a merchant. I would say that she's a merchant. I'm not sure, and in such cases, I always ask the client, because I cannot afford to be wrong. I ask the client and I'd start describing in brief, summarizing what a merchant is and what an educator is, and the client will say, I'm not that, no, I'm not that, I'm this. We'll confirm. And so merchants, again, it's because they're very, especially if I'm presuming if you're watching this, or the majority of people, they have this, they have some interest in astrology or spirituality, etc., and they have this very mistaken, actually wrong notions about wealth and material wealth and money. And money is evil, etc. No, nothing could be further from the truth. It's not evil. The love of money, loving money over others, this is evil, so to say, not money itself. And the thing is that we have again 5 archetypes. So the fact that this native is a merchant does not mean that she's a merchant, she's a trader by profession. No, this is her path. This is her path. What she needs to do. She needs to be a merchant, not necessarily merchant by profession. I will explain what this means. But the point is that there are five dharma types, and only one is merchant. And out of the 5, only the merchant was destined, so to say, was fated not just to work with money, but to love it and to fulfill their path. So the merchants. So because if a merchant goes to an astrologer, and this astrologer belongs to the not to the dark side, to the light side, turn the other cheek, nonsense, etc. Don't do this, help others at your expense, etc. Give, this is money is evil, give. The merchant will say, what's going on here? I mean, this is not me. Why should I change myself? This is not me. Now, so the point is that the merchants are fine, and they should be pursuing this because it's their life path, and it's not evil. No, on the contrary, it's not. And let me explain, because I'm speaking English, so the United States, this doctrine about dharma types, it's not just about people, natal charts, it's also about countries. And the United States, as Simon Chikoisi explains, and it's obvious, it's a merchant country. And for all the flaws of the United States, they have so many pluses, they have so many advantages. And again, I've said this before, and Simon himself, and he's an American, he says, instead of exporting war, we Americans, he says, we could be exporting music, we could be exporting genes, or we could be exporting something, or movies, or etc., or sports, or something, or diplomacy, or something, but not war, or not bullying, or the dollar, or something that's not backed up by anything for the past 50 since 1971. But the point is that with merchants, they have very, very positive qualities. Each of the types have positives and negatives. The merchants in our culture, we have to when you work, you have to enjoy. You have to unwind. So merchants are those that provide this for you. So you have worked your ass off. You want to relax. The merchant has made it sure that there is that yes, the laborers have produced the food, but the merchants have placed the food in the shelves, on the stores. They have the connections. They have they are the mediators. You want to go to a vacation? The merchants, they have done the marketing. They have all the offers, etc. The companies. The merchant is giving that to you. You want to go to a movie? You want to go to see some sports event? It's the merchants. So merchants, they have very positive characteristics. And also, speaking of merchants, this woman, she has, I would say to her that you have tremendous ability to influence others. You can basically persuade others to do your bidding. These are merchants. The other types, they do not. They have other gifts, but the merchants are the sales pitch. These are the merchants, folks. The best merchants are those that with the sales pitches, and they love it. They just love it. But the thing is, the danger, I'm sure. Again, I'm speaking English. You're most likely from such a culture, from a Western culture where merchant society, is that merchants they get carried away. When they start doing something just for the money itself without providing value, it gets it becomes detrimental. It's not serving society. It's serving only the merchants, and this is not how it should be. Let's put it this way. Because if everyone, well, it's not going to happen, but if the vast majority of people start caring only about themselves, and not caring about other ones, not helping other ones when they can, society is obviously going to fall apart. And the point is that if merchants can because each of the dharma types has a path of evolution and a path of devolution. So you can slide back or you can move forward, and you can start running basically on your evolutionary journey. So with merchants, again, one of the things is charity. Again, giving to charity, it does not necessarily mean money. You can give clothes, you can give knowledge, or you can give food, or you can help something. Also, merchants with this gift of the gap, they can uplift others. They make the best compliments. So somebody could be very sad or depressed or down, and the merchant can really cheer you up just with one sentence. Of course, if it's genuine. Sometimes it's not genuine, but if it's genuine, if it's comes from the heart, it's unrivaled, the merchants. And yes, also let's what I'm describing here with merchants is merchants are the most empty people on the inside. They surround themselves with luxury, with cars, with jewels, with expensive furniture, etc., but with clothes. But on the inside, they're empty, because when they start doing this just for the money, just for paycheck to paycheck, this is not giving them. This is not helping them in the long run, and they're feeling empty, but they do not know why. And this is why this knowledge is so precious. So let's see. So merchants, the path of evolution would be, I would advise this woman to go with the laborers, because the laborers, each of the types has a path of evolution and devolution. As I said, with the merchants, it's the laborer. So the laborer is. So let me also say that I will explain that what I'm doing here. This is the natal chart. So this is the whole life of the native, but this is on the static level. However, like ancient astrology, Indian astrology also has a timing system. It's called dasha, or this is the most famous. They have many 20 or 30 dashas. This is Vimshottari, the most famous one. And these are the life chapters, folks. These are the life chapters, and that we have. So, for example, this woman, like with the planets, I was talking about the laborers. This woman, we see that in 2002, in January, she entered Saturn Dasha, and the Saturn Dasha is 19 years, from 2002 to 2021. So Saturn is an Earth planet. Earth is the element of laborers. So this woman, she entered 19 years of Saturn. She already these years have passed, but my point is that this period was extremely important and significant in her life. Why? Because if she knew about this, and she could have, or she should have, how shall I put it, she should have sown the seeds so that she could reap the rewards and the harvest, so to say, now. Because the laborer period is when you develop skills, when you get with others in a community. You eat good food, you enjoy life, you stop to enjoy, to contemplate. You're not rushing like the merchants. The merchants are nervous, they're rushing, they're always in a hurry, they're doing many things, they're multitasking. They're the busiest of types, but they do not relax. They think that they're hiding what they're doing with their cruises, or with their luxurious lifestyle, but their belongings, their personal effects. But that's not. No, that does not give happiness. And so this period would have been extremely important for her. And also, of course, I'm not. This is again, these life periods, they're like chapters in the life of the native. So I'm not. For example, an Indian astrologer, someone who is versed in Indian astrology, would say, well, Saturn for Taurus ascendant is Raja Yoga Karaka, the most powerful, the most benefic planet for Taurus ascendant is Taurus. For Taurus ascendant is Saturn. That's true, it's not taking away that, but this is you can add that you can add that to your delineation. But with the Dharma types, where you can also add the 5th house, and Saturn rules the 10th house of career, etc., etc., and that aspects the 7th house and the 2nd house, etc. But that's not what this is about. I'm presenting the method, and this is more broad stroke, so to say, more bird's view, this is important because in 2021 in January she entered 17-year period of Mercury, and Mercury is in Indian astrology, this system, Mercury is water, and water is the merchant element. So the native being a merchant, this woman, she entered 17-year merchant period. This is extremely significant and life-changing for her because she's a merchant and entering a merchant. So this is I will not say, well, life-changing is putting it a little strongly, but extremely significant because she can make it very big in this period because she knows the energy, she knows what to do. So with merchant, what she should be doing is she should be selling, she should be cashing in, she should be selling her skills, she should be earning money, she should be, whatever she's doing, she needs to capitalize on this in the merchant period. Again, with this period, with the previous period, it was laborer. It was not about that. I mean, again, understand me correctly. I'm not saying stop working. No. This is different. What I'm saying is have a more bird's eye view of your life. This is what astrology offers in this particular. Obviously, with the regular consultation or annual predictions, I can go year by year, birthday per birthday. In fact, I'm one of the few astrologers in the world who offers annual and monthly charts. I break down the annual horoscope into 12 monthly charts, so you have a horoscope for each of the 12 months, not just one chart for the whole year. But that's not. This is a separate type of focus and consultation, so to say. Here we are looking at, as I said, the general overview of the native life, the chapters, and after that she will enter the Ketu period, and Ketu is an outsider planet. Nobody is the same after an outsider period. Yes, it's shorter. It's 6 years, but it's Ketu. So, and we can see that Ketu is in the 10th house of career, etc., etc. But the point is that this is going to be a period of transformation, etc., etc. And I can go on and on. But you get. I hope you get the main drift. So this is what can be. This is one last thing. This is important. With ancient astrology or Chinese astrology, where we can have synastry or compatibility analysis between two people, be they lovers or a parent and a child, or friends or business partners, etc. Here with Indian astrology we can do the same, but in terms of the Dharma types, it's important to in fact I would recommend Simon for compatibility. He he developed a software for this. But for the Dharma types, I'm also offering consultations. The point is that for the Dharma types, you can be so this woman is a merchant. Now her spouse can be a warrior. This woman is currently in a merchant period, but her spouse can be in a laborer period or can be in an outsider period. You see, it adds up. So the period is not changing who you are; it's altering the expression of who you are, but it's not changing your purpose. So the thing is that people some people get together during a period because the period is harmonious. But after the period ends, if they do not have compatibility on the natal level, they split, they separate. This is what I wanted you to keep in mind. So it's very interesting to compare what cycle you're in and what your cycle your spouse or your boyfriend, girlfriend, or your loved one is also. So you can act accordingly. Again, it's living. Again, remember, living in accordance with nature, not against nature. This is what we're ultimately doing, because astrology is the study of the divine mind, basically. Astrologos, what this being said about our life, or basically we can also say what God said or what our own soul said, but we're deciphering it through astrology. Or those that are gifted enough on a regular basis, they can decipher this, or part of this at least, through intuitive insights. But there are very few such people. So this is what I wanted to share. this is my, if you're into, I will provide a link. This is my consultation that I'm offering, spiritual path and meaning of life. Again, I've been such a, and I continue to be, of course it will continue to be such a studious and hardworking bee, and extracting knowledge and nectar from so many cultures, that I want to offer the best, and I'm using this and refining this and testing it and confirming, etc. Like with the Dharma types. Again, ancient astrology is tropical astrology. Indian astrology is sidereal astrology. I tested this both with the tropical and with the sidereal zodiac. It is what it is. Practice shows that the sidereal zodiac works way better than the tropical zodiac. And I abandoned the tropical zodiac for Indian astrology, for this knowledge. So I'm using it, and Simon himself uses the sidereal zodiac with Indian astrology. So again, it's experience, and science means knowledge, scientia. So yeah, it's Robert Zola like to say the Rosicrucians like to say the height of science is to know nothing. We have to approach this with an innocent mind and with an objective mind. So this is what I wanted to share with you. This is I will provide a link. This I've explained about my consultation and what you can get there. Also further information here that I did not probably share in the video, although it's become rather long. And lastly but not least, this is the modern chart, again with quadrant houses and Pluto and Uranus and Neptune and Chiron and what's this, Ceres or Vesta Ceres, I think. You can add all the planets or asteroids in the world. If you're missing a fundamental methodology, you're not going to get very far. And this is, again, it's not the fault of modern astrologers, because knowledge was destroyed. There were wars, there were plunderings, there were destructions, looting, etc. But it is what it is. Modern astrology is extremely poor, by far the poorest of all, for all their pretense, etc. I'm not criticizing modern astrologers. Again, I have friends there. Some of them are really helping others. Again, as long as they're providing accurate, concrete, specific information. When they start using psychology and collective evolution and and karma and reincarnation and other stuff like that, no, because you cannot prove this. If you cannot prove this, you cannot be held accountable. So you're not. The client cannot say, wait a second, you said this did not happen, or something. I mean, I'm not. Again, nobody's 100% accurate, but the good astrologers, the best astrologers among us, we can reach between 70 and 80%, sometimes 85%, with insight, with spiritual practices, which ancient astrologers encouraged people to cultivate their abilities, to meditate, to contemplate, not to get involved in politics or petty passions, etc. Because this science, this art takes a lot. It requires complete dedication. It's not just a job. It's a vocation type of thing, and I love it. I love it. And I'm going to need this. There is a reason I'm doing this. I'm going to need this after this life, so to say. So thank you for watching. If you have a question on this video, I will reply to you as soon as time permits. And if you'd like to subscribe, I would really appreciate it. You can also go to my website 100%astrology.com, and you can subscribe here. It's free, of course. Just one name and your email, and you will receive an automatic email every time I publish a video. Again, I'll never contact you. I will never send you spam. It's an automatic email that an application is here. I'm using an application, so the app is automatically sending emails to whoever with a pre-written text. You can subscribe just with a click of a button, and that's it. I'm not sending any commercial emails, etc. I'm not into this. And this is my Rumble channel also. If you'd subscribe, I would appreciate it. Far fewer people in Rumble, but most of the people are on YouTube and Facebook too. And so this was it. I hope it was instructional, and I hope I can make other videos. I realize these are long videos. I'm taking time to prepare. I'm writing notes, etc. I do not have the time to offer a PowerPoint presentation, but these are long videos because this is one of the most important videos probably I'll ever make, and I want people to have access to this information, because again, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time and a lot of it's not just time, it's not just money. You have to have an inclination to this. You have to have this eternal thirst. because if the information can be found, if you potentially by everyone, but this is not what happens. So very grateful to other astrologers or translators who are teaching some of this and who are making this available. And I myself am supporting. I've shown translations from Horror Project Levente Laszlo, from translations from ancient Greek and Byzantine astrology and Latin, and also I've joined Ali Olomi's Patreon. He is an Arabic incredible man. He teaches, I think, history in the United States in California in a university. He translates from Arabic, so I'm keeping abreast of everything that's been translated from these three languages and also in other languages, so that I can keep improving, becoming better and better and more accurate astrologer, and of course serve my clients even better. Thank you for watching. I wish you all the best, and I hope I'll be able to make another video soon. Thank you.